Prodigy, if you're watching this video, that is up until now the most frequently used Brawl Stars draft tool. It was very useful for picking, but there were a few problems with it that weren't addressed. So I found this one, which is better in my opinion. So credit to Azurus41 for creating this. It is very helpful. It is always up to date. So over here you can see the top 5 most picked brawlers on all maps. So this one takes all the picks into account and it resets when there's an update. So you see there's relatively few picks, like only 49,000 Byron picks. That's not much. The other day I checked and it was like 400,000. That's because they had an update like 2 days ago that kind of changed the meta a little bit. So like Kaze was up here, Kaze is no longer in the top 5. Gus has moved up and Otis has moved up. So what you do to start is you pick the map, and this is always updated. One problem I've seen with Power League Prodigy is that it takes a little bit of time to update. So, like for example, I was playing ranked, and Spiraling Out and Grass Knot were not in the rotation on Power League Prodigy. So if I got those maps, then I'd have to go for the draft for like Pinball Dreams or Triple Dribble, which is still helpful. However, you don't get the same advantage that you do if it knows the map specifically, because there are some matchups that are changed. Because Spiraling Out does have a little bit more range to it than Pinball Dreams and stuff like that. So, for example, we're playing Bell's Rock, and then you pick who picks first. Your team was blue, their team is red. So, let's say I have first pick, so I pick blue, and you see it shows the map over here with a name, the first pick. So then you get your bans. Now, something that this one does that Power League Prodigy doesn't do is it shows what would be some good bans for your team to pick. Which Power League Prodigy just shows what brawlers have the best win rate, and this one has that too down here, but we'll get into that later. But the bans, so like right over here, it suggests we ban Brock, Gus, and Piper, and that would give us a .16 scoring edge in the game, and that would give us a 58% chance to win if the draft goes exactly like this, which it almost certainly will not. But anyway, if we ban these 3 brawlers, then that will give us a slight edge in the game. So you get to pick who you ban. So I can go over here. Let's say we do that exact ban. So I can just click on this one, and it'll put all 3 of those bans in, and then we do their team's bans. And if you don't have time, you can press the skip button and just skip to the draft, but you generally want to do it. So let's say they ban Gene, Bell, and Piper. Oh, they can't ban Piper. We already banned Piper. They ban. They can ban Piper. I forgot about that. Anyway, so for the pick, it suggests for our first pick that we pick Gray. So down here it shows you the score for the map, the synergy, the counter, the amount that is countered, and the role conflict, which would be like lane conflict or how your team is playing conflict. Like you don't want an overwhelming amount of assassins. So right now there would never be any synergy countered or conflict because it is the first pick. So obviously Angelo and Gray have the highest scores by a lot, so one of them is probably the best first pick. But over here, it actually suggests you Gray, because then if they pick Angelo, we have a slight advantage against them. So I'm gonna pick Gray, and then let's say here's what they should pick in order to give us like the most trouble. But let's say they come over here and they pick, oh, we need something that counters Gray, so they go Sprout, which you can see it says counters Gray, so that'd be a little bit of a better pick. And then over here, you look through, you're like, ooh, synergy and counters. So obviously, you can see it says countered by Gray. That would dissuade me personally from going for that brawler, but if you want to, you can, cause like Ollie, I would not pick here because he has a conflict with another brawler on his team, and he is countered by a brawler on the other team. So here I would just go Angelo. So I pull out the Angelo, and then it says Meeple and Mandy is probably our best bet, and into Jae Young, which it looks like they're gonna pick. So obviously Meeple is really good here because it counters both of their brawlers and goes with mine. So we go Meeple, and then it suggests Mandy, which is interesting because Mandy is not. Mandy is eighth. Also Ziggy. I have not seen Ziggy in ranked like ever. So I personally would come over here and pick Byron because Byron has almost double the score of the second highest, which is Rico. Even though Byron is fifth over here, I still think Byron's a great pick. And then let's say they pick Jae Young, which it looks like they were gonna pick from a while out. So, and then here you can see we have the win prediction. We got 51.2% win prediction. That's good. That means we will probably win. There's a slight chance we won't, but you know. And then over here is one of the most important parts that Power League Prodigy doesn't give you. It shows you what brawlers counter other brawlers. So the Meeple over here can counter the Sprout and the Angelo. So if we do a lane, then I will put Meeple on one of these two brawlers. And it looks over here that they counter Gray and Byron pretty effectively, which is a problem, but that would be Sprout and Jaeyoung. So if you put the Meeple on the Sprout and the Jaeyoung gets the Byron in the lane, then the Gray can get the Angelo, and that kind of evens it out. Synergy over here is also helpful. Sprout and Angelo and Jaeyoung. Angelo synergizes with both, which is good. Gray Meeple synergize because of all the movement speed that you get and all the like strategic placement you get. And the coach's corner is my personal favorite. You have tips like Meeple has a favorable matchup against two enemies and can look for 1v1. See, that's always helpful information to know. Power League Prodigy wouldn't ever tell you that. But this one would set. Okay, so like if I'm playing Meeple, then I can aggro them because I know I can win the 1v1s. And Sprout is a major threat to my team, and we need to keep track of its position. So I might put Meeple on the Sprout just because his super can help pierce through walls and can take out the Sprout easier. And then you have Gray supporting Meeple, especially when it pushes against the enemy Sprout. So what this means is that when Meeple is 1v1ing, the Sprout, as previously mentioned, then the Gray can go in and help it to take out the Sprout first because the Sprout's a threat. See, that gives you so much more detail than Power League Prodigy. And you can get, and this is, it says up here how stats are calculated. But this is how they get all their stuff. The max score for a score is 1, and that is an absolutely perfect score. The highest I've ever seen is like 3.8 on Nani and Shooting Star. But that was like right after the update when you know they have like an 100% pick rate and 100% win rate because there's only been 4 games played. And they do take all that into account for the score. They do have like deductions if it doesn't synergize, stuff like that. So here, just to show you how many maps they have all the maps that are in ranked right now, going all the way from the knockout maps, heist, brawl ball. You know they have 6 brawl ball maps this season because it's the feature mode, and then they have the gem grab, bounty, and hot zone.